Hey guys, what's up? It's Sam. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a video on how to get this makeup look, so if you're interested, just keep on watching. Okay, so now that my face is washed, we're going to get to the makeup. First, I just wanted to say I do have some red marks on my face. I do not get acne. I have very clear skin, which I'm very thankful for, but I do get the occasional pimple. You know, I'm not perfect, but my skin just tends to react to everything. It's just really sensitive, so that's why you see like little red marks on my face. And I also have freckles under my eyes, so these are freckles right here and here. And then this is I forget like when this happened, but when I was younger, I got this scar on my face. But right here, I tend to get irritated, but I do not have acne there. So by all means, I will do a video on my skincare routine because many have asked me. But right now, let's get to the makeup. Okay, so the first thing I do is I actually mix a lotion and a oil on my face. So the one that I use for the lotion is the Body Shop Tea Tree mattifying lotion. I love this one because tea tree oil is just really good for you in general. I put it in my hair, which I do when I shower. I haven't done that yet. That's why my hair is a disaster right now. But this is what it looks like. I actually get mine at Ulta. I've gotten it at my job before. I work at Bed Bath & Beyond. So I've gotten it there before, and it's just really nice. So I use about that much or so. Sorry, it's really light in here, but I use about that much. And then I put some facial oil on. I'm using the one by Olay. I actually have a couple different kinds that I really like, but Olay seems to work really well with this. So I put a drop or two of your facial oil with your lotion and just rub it together between your fingers, and then I put some right here and I just kind of lightly rub it in. Really gentle. Nothing like, you know, don't like scrub it in your face. You just want to get it mainly on where your makeup's gonna go. What's having my voice? Where your makeup's gonna go, because that's what you want filling your pores first. You'd rather have lotion and oil fill your pores before makeup. Alright, so I'm just gonna give this a second to set in and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've given it a couple seconds to set in. So now I'm gonna do my foundation. So I don't use a lot of foundation. As I said, I don't really have much that I need to cover. So I'm basically putting a layer on to make my face look like one color, not just in one spot, but very little of it. So the ones that I use a Beauty Blender, and then I have the Born This Way by Too Faced, and I use the color Snow because I'm white as ever. So this is what it looks like, Born This Way. I love Too Faced. I really do. I think their stuff goes a really long way, like very little of it. So I put about that much for my entire face. Now that's just because I don't feel like I need more than that. Like it goes a long way, you'll see, watch. So I put 2 dots on my cheeks, I put 1 up here, and then I just take this and I actually just kind of put like spots all over my face. Then I actually start down here and I kind of put it, sorry, let me move my hair out of the way. I kind of just put it on the edges first. See, I have like red marks from acne from a long time ago. They're actually going away, but they got irritated. They just only come out really when I have washed my face. And it takes like 10 to 15 minutes, and then it goes away because I don't really, I don't know why I don't really like have like a sensitive like caring like lotion or anything after that takes away. I've never found one, but I use a sensitive face wash, so I don't know why it still does that. So anyway, so I don't automatically put that on the top of my cheek. I actually work it from the bottom up because you want less here in these spots, because this is where you could really tell you have makeup on because your pores are a lot thicker in those areas. So I just kind of like lightly blend it in. Now beauty blenders have saved my life. I think they're amazing. I really do. I think they really cover everything. So I just keep doing this. And then if I feel like I have too much, like I don't like how much is right here, I actually take an empty end of the blender and I just kind of lightly blend it out. And it'll, do you ever realize like the funniest faces you make when you're doing your makeup? Like it's great. It's attractive. So it looks like the bottom's done, and you could see like it's a very light layer. You could still see my freckles, but everything looks matte and covered. I love it. Like you can barely tell that I have makeup on. So now I'm just kind of lightly doing this. There's not really much left on the Beauty Blender at all. This just kind of gives it the blending effect into your neck. Now right here, this is where I do the same thing, but again, I try to do it on the outside. Okay, now the only thing that I use concealer for, which I will show you the concealer that I use by, let's see, by Urban Decay. It's the Naked line. I love this concealer. I swear by this concealer. So I only put a little bit right here, and I go across like this, like that. Then I put a little over here because I have that birthmark, so I try to lightly cover it. And I put the same thing here. I kind of try to draw like a little circle. I know it's like a really weird way to do it, but this is just a way that I can blend it evenly into my entire face without like making like it look bubbly up here from concealer. So I don't do it where normal people do it. That's just because I don't really want to cover my freckles all the time, like completely, to the fact like that you can't see them at all. So it's a very, very light layer of concealer, but it does a lot, so I really like it. And then I do have one other trick product that I think is like the best thing ever. Since I did concealer, I don't really need it, but I'll do it just to show you guys. I did get this, believe it or not, I actually watched TV and I saw this, and I'm really skeptical. I don't normally buy stuff off TV, but I was like, you know what? For some reason, this seemed really good to me, so I actually got it, and it was my favorite thing ever now. It's the IT Cosmetics Lotion Foundation, and the front's already like faded, so you can't even see it, but the bottle's like metallic color. It's really cool. So basically, a small portion of this, so if I want to cover my freckles, I'll show you. So about this much, maybe, like very little, covers everything. Like this is like the best stuff in the world. This stuff, I've had this bottle for probably like 5-6 months now, and I still have plenty left, and it does such a great job, and it just feels like nothing's on your face. But my favorite part about this one is it doesn't crease. So like if you put it here or here, it doesn't crease during the day. So this is really nice. I definitely recommend this. Okay, so the next thing that I'm gonna do is, let me show you guys. If I could get everything together, that would be awesome. All right, so the next thing I'm gonna do is my eyebrows. Now, I have a lot of hair, but it's so light and I hate it so much. But I am that kind of person that I can't stand when like you could tell that someone's is drawn on so much that it just looks like overkill. So I actually have a technique that I'm sure other people do. I have never seen it in a makeup tutorial, but hey, it doesn't mean no one does it. But this is what my brush looks like that I use. It has like a slant to it, but it's very thin. Now my trick is I put a little bit, I actually use an eyeshadow, and I actually have a palette though by Anastasia that I'll use too. Maybe I'll do that in another tutorial because today I'm going to use this one. I just use a little bit of this brown eyeshadow that I have, and I dab this in here, and then I wipe it off the side a little bit and I tap it. So there's very little on here. And I'm actually going to use a mirror that's a little bit closer to me. I did get this palette at Bare Minerals. They have really good stuff, so I really do like their stuff. So what I'm going to do is I lightly take this and I start brushing up on my eyebrows. Now, I like to, I have something in my eyebrow, sorry. I like to brush up because then I see where the hairs are. I can kind of get the line. I'm doing it very lightly, so you're not like rubbing it on there. But this kind of gives it that natural effect. And it really, really does, because I still see like spots between my eyebrows. But it makes them look like they're really that dark. Because I don't really ever want to actually dye my eyebrows. That would be crazy, but yeah. Alright, so I'm going to go do the other one. Okay, so now that the other one's done, I am going to move on to my next thing, which the reason why I do my eyebrows before I do any of my bronze or anything like that is just because it gives my foundation and stuff a second to settle, because if you start putting it on, that's when it starts to look cakey. So that's how I do it. You don't have to do it that way. Do it whatever way works for you. Now this is a light makeup tutorial. This is more natural. So my bronzer and all that's pretty light, but it does do an effect because I'm so white. So my bronzer that I use is one by Bobbi Brown, And this is what the packaging looks like. It's really hard to show it with this glare and this lighting. But I use the color Golden Light because you can't go too dark when you're this white. So I use a brush though that I found actually, I believe it was at Bare Minerals. And this brush is my favorite thing ever. It looks like this, but it has an angle. I don't know if you guys can tell, but it's the best brush I've ever used for bronzer. I'm obsessed with it. So I take a little bit and I dab it off so there's not too much, and I actually start down here and I just give myself a light like circular motion through my entire face. It does do a lot though, and then the last thing is I just take this like this. So it really does. And then my trick is I don't wash out my beauty blender until I'm completely done with my makeup. So I actually take my beauty blender, which just has leftover foundation, concealer, and I actually just take it. I don't take it on the actual line of where I just did it. I take it a little bit above where I just put it and I lightly blend because you don't want it to, and I just do it once. You don't want it to cover up what you just did. But that lightly blends it. In this light, it's kind of hard to tell, but it does add a shade to my face. I don't know if you can tell like that. It's just like really bright out right now. So, okay. So the next thing that I do is blush. I actually use one by Sonia. I don't even know how to go about saying her name, but I found it, I think, once at like Target, and I actually ended up loving it. So that's her name. I don't really know how to say it. Maybe you guys do, but I don't. It's this really light pink one. And I think like a little of this goes a really long way. So I use a little kabuki brush that I got. This is an e.l.f. one actually. I have a few different kinds in here, but apparently I chose the e.l.f. one right now. So I just lightly dab it actually. I don't rub it because I feel like rubbing actually just moves your foundation even if you let it dry. So I don't do that. But now I just do that, and again, I take this and I lightly go around it and it just lightly blends it in for me. So that way there's no lines and streaks and stuff from like where you put that on. Okay, so the last thing that I do in this makeup tutorial, believe it or not, is I take an empty, let me see, actually it's the second to last, I kind of lied. The first thing that I actually do is I take a little bit of chapstick and I actually put it on, or Aquaphor, Burt's Bees is my favorite though. I love it. You can ask anybody. I always have it with me. I just love it, and that's why I think my lips are just so healthy. So after I did that, I'm going to take a second to let this settle before I put my last thing on my lips. But I take an empty, do they call this an eyelash brush? I'm not sure, but I just take an empty one of this that I have. Now this is completely, there's nothing on it. Like there's absolutely nothing. I clean it every day, so I cleaned it before I did this tutorial. And I actually take my mirror and I lay it down, and then I'm actually going to take this and roll up like that on my eyelashes. And then I just kind of fix them. This gets anything out of them that I don't want and kind of shapes them really nice. So let me just do that to the other guy if I don't get hair in my face. And lastly, I take this lipstick that I have. It's a very light lipstick. It's actually the same color as my lips, and I put it on a little bit because I feel like the chapstick kind of dulls out my lip color because I have a very strong pink lip color. So I am actually surprisingly not a big fan of Revlon, but I have like 2 of their products that I like. I'm just really not a fan. So this one is number 805. It's called Kissable Pink, and it's a really cute light pink color, and it like matches perfectly. That's it, just a little, and that is that. So then I just go, I shower, I do my hair how I want to do it. And one thing that I do that I don't think a lot of people do, and I don't do it every day, but sometimes, like if I'm getting ready for work, the first thing I do when I get up, obviously, is wash my face, and then I do my makeup, but then I get in the shower. And it's weird, but sometimes the mist from the shower actually makes my makeup settle really well. And I know that sounds ridiculous because you have to focus on not getting your face wet, which can be difficult to do, but for me, I think I'm just so used to it. It's just a little trick that I have. You don't have to do it, obviously, but I say give it a shot. I think it makes the makeup like really, really natural looking because it's got some moisture in it, and that's not always a bad thing, but you want to make sure that you don't do too much, obviously. And one other thing I did forget to mention, I do not use primer. Primer is not needed for makeup. I know some people use it and there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody's face is different, so some people's face might need it. For mine, I don't need it, and I also don't use a setting spray. My makeup lasts all day just fine, so that's why I love these products. So I don't use any of that extra stuff. I think that stuff tends to irritate me. Thank you guys so much for watching my video. If you did like it, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Cutting me up like a knife and I feel it deep in my bones. Kicking a habit I love even harder. You wanna know? I just wanna dive